Hey guys, and welcome to a new replay commentary. As you might hear, I have a new microphone, so I'm testing this out with the replay commentary because it's very easy to produce. Let me know if you think the audio levels are fine and everything in the comments, would be much appreciated. But other than that, let's go into it. So we're on Infernal Shrines, and this was a placement game for this season. And as you might be able to see later on, we are playing in a pretty high MMR game here actually. We have a Thero Angel from Method here, so programmers in this game. So generally speaking, that should be a pretty high MMR game. We're playing Tassadar as a second support to a Lily, and here are some things about Tassadar that you might not know. He has a very low win rate at the moment, which I think basically is because he isn't a very good solo support, and he only really shines when he can enable another hero like Tracer or Vala. We don't have any of these heroes, as you can see, but Hanzo actually is a pretty good hero to give shields to. His survivability is pretty limited. He is very squishy, so you will see that some shields putting some shields on him will help his survivability quite a bit. On level 1, we're going for Psy Infusion. I think it's the only viable quest at the moment. It will give you more power to your Psionic Storms. First, you will get increased range if you have 500 targets hit, and then on 1000 targets hit, you will get also increased damage. So that's really cool. It also adds very well with the double Psionic Storm on level 16. So that's just, I think, probably the best talent at the moment for Tassadar in the support role. Especially because supports have issues with wave clearing. It's cool to have the Psionic Storms doing more damage because you basically just increase your wave clear, and that's something that you miss from your double support setup. I have a Medivh here in my lane, so I have to be careful, and I'm actually struggling quite a bit against him in the early parts of the game, where I get hit by his... I actually have no idea what it's called. Let's have a look. It is called Arcane Rift. There you go. So the Arcane Rift hits me a couple of times, which is not so good, but on the other hand, I try to avoid being hit while he's also hitting the minion wave. So that's something that you can do to avoid being outplayed by a Medivh. Shui wants to stack on you, and sometimes you will not be able to miss, or not miss, but like dodge the stack. But at least you can stay out of the minion wave as much as possible, which will allow you to at least push the wave, and because Medivh has no other wave clear than the Arcane Rift. On level 4, you have actually 3 probably very viable talents, I want to say. Color Celerity with the movement speed is actually pretty good against what they have because of the slow of Artisan and a lot of roots, and they don't have any hard CC, they don't have any stuns, so the speed would have been pretty okay. But as we said, we wanted to improve the survivability of Hanzo, so him getting some armor when the shield expires is actually pretty good. Kala's Embrace increases the life leech on the shield, which is probably the talent that you know most, and it's most often used with the Tracer. So the talents are all pretty viable, but I guess Kala's Embrace and Kala's Light are the ones that I picked most often. You can see I'm shielding myself quite a bit here in this lane, which is just for life leeching. So basically I just give myself a shield and then I'm auto-attacking and doing damage. So you can see I'm getting a little bit of life back. And then you also saw on the talent, sorry, on the character pane here on the nameplate, the armor, and you will see it now again. Here you go, you can see the green armor coming up. Once the armor once the shield run out, you get 15 armor, which decreases the damage you take by 50%. As you saw here, I dodged his attack and then was pretty safe, but now I have attacked because I lost quite a bit of life and only had like 600 hit points left. My team is doing their things, and as you can see, I'm not really doing like double support things. I'm not with the Hanzo all the time, or as you'll be used to seeing Tracer at Tassadar, where you just hang out with Tracer all the time. That wasn't necessary in this game. I was more solo laning actually against the Medivh, and it's actually pretty good because first of all, Medivh doesn't get as many stacks out of a solo lane, so it's a mistake by them. But second, I have pretty okay wave clear, and we have pretty good wave clear in the 4-man rotation of Kerberos, Diablo, Lily, and Hanzo. because they all get pretty good wave clear together, especially with Hanzo level 4 Q. So let's have a look at the team that we're doing here. So the things that I have to focus on here now is basically shielding the targets that are low or are going to get engaged. Second, I want to do damage to the Psionic Storm to one target that is out of position. We're going to swap over the Arthas here, and I also use the shield on the Hanzo because he was attacked by the Arthas. So with this, as you can see, the combo of my shields and the rocket from Diablo, we get a kill here. And you can also see that at the moment I'm actually sitting pretty much in top of the charts of damage to minions, because I'm just in the top end doing exactly that. I just do minion damage, which is exactly what I should be doing. So far the only issue that we have is that the Thrall is actually getting pretty good stacks off already on Crash Lightning. He already has 13 stacks, so he's doing a lot of damage already, and he only needs 7 more to get the Chain Lightning prioritized heroes when jumping over. And that's going to be a very powerful thing, as we will see later on, without telling you too much now. One thing in our draft, and we're going to pause it here to explain that a little bit further. The one thing that we have an issue with is that we have 4 range characters and only Diablo as a frontline. So in these situations where you have basically all of us clumped up like this, we're pretty good targets for roots and engagements from the enemy team. So we have to be very, very careful with this. And we don't always do a good job on it. Again, just putting the shield down, and the good thing about the armor talent is that you get an advantage, or not an advantage, but you get value out of the shields being depleted. So normally you don't want to have, or you don't want to use the shields and then have them expire right away because they're getting bursted down, because then you don't have, for example, the life leech or the speed because the shield is removed. But in this case, because the removal actually triggers the armor, it's actually very, very good that that the shields are removed quickly, because then you can get the armor back. Here, pretty nice dodge by me, just using the dimensional shift to get away out of a bad situation. And now we decide, tactical-wise, that the Diablo has to go back because he's so low and he doesn't want to die. So he goes back and tanks, not tanks, but get some life back. So I decide to just rotate to the middle, because our XP advantage is only half a level, but it is very quick with Tassadar. Just put down one storm and then just go back up, and I'm pretty much back with the team at the same time as the Diablo. We also saw that let's pause really quick here, that the enemy team had very poor wave clear on the shrine. As you can see, even though we were like absent for like a minute or so, they didn't even get anywhere close to the 40 skeletons that you need. And this is something that you can do with Tassadar as well. I'm pretty much out of position here, but the cool thing about this is that with the dimensional shift I can easily escape. Unfortunately, my teammates again clumped pretty heavily here, so the Arthas gets 2 roots off, which are not, great. Fortunately for us and unfortunately for the enemy team, the Mephion in this game struggled quite a bit with staying alive and being in position. He was out of position quite a bit, so that was quite a bit of an issue for them, and it was good for us because he was an easy target for us to focus on. As you saw there, he just got killed. Pick up the 2 globes. It's really important that you pick these up so that you get some mana and life back. On the plus side, you also see that you have pretty good I want to say flexibility with Tassadar. While you can pick him as the support and just like the attachment to some other hero, he can also just play in solo lanes or as this as a rotating hero. That's totally fine because he doesn't necessarily like shine in these situations. Like you can see the wave clear is not like super quick, but it's also not super slow. As long as I have my storms up, I'm super happy to just like rotate from wave to wave and get it done. On level 10 you see that I've taken Force Wall, which is considered the weaker talent in most of the pro circles, but I personally think that it's heavily undervalued, and we will see why in a second. On level 7, by the way, I think the only viable competitive talent is Sonic Projection, because because the range increase on Shield and Sonic Storm is just so incredible. It helps you to escape, it helps you to dismount people, it helps you to give shields to people. It's really, really powerful. So the enemy team is engaging into us, and again the Malfurion is a little bit out of position. And now look what Forceful does. So he had a pretty easy escape path, and then there's just suddenly a wall that he gets charged into by Diablo. So this is something that in this composition is obviously super powerful. The Diablo can just charge targets into my wall, so that works. But generally speaking, I personally think that Force Wall is completely undervalued in Pro Circus. So now let's have another look. Both Arthas and Medivh are actually pretty safe here, I think, to escape. Suddenly there's a wall, Medivh can't go through, and Arthas also can't go through. So Medivh has to protect himself and gets out with the portal, but unfortunately for them, that means that the Arthas dies. And this is what I mean, like, Force Wall gives you so many opportunities to like disrupt the enemy and put stuffs, like basically put the wall into their way, and then unfortunately for them, cause, you know, so many issues with literally just them not being able to run away. As you can see, my quest also is pretty much stacked within like nearly 10 minutes. So that's really, really powerful as well. If you can rotate with Tassadar and take off these huge waves, it's really good because you get your quests done much, much quicker. And you can see the radius is actually enormous, so you can easily claim a minion wave very, very quickly. On 13 you have a couple of options. In this case, we already saw that Thrall was stacking very well. He had 28 stacks now, so that means his lightning damage is incredibly high, like super high. But also that the lightning now just jumps on heroes, so that's an issue for us. So I took Nullification because it reduces the damage of the heroes by 75% for 4 seconds, and that's a very long time. Other alternatives will also have been Deep Shift, just gives me more movement speed and increase the duration of the shift, so you have more time to run away. I think Adun's Wisdom is only really viable if you go on level 7 and take Mental Acuity, which I think in Hewley games is fine, but projection is just so strong that I feel like this can only be taken if you are probably playing with a Tracer. I think that's the only way that you can get advantage of it, because you're sticking with the Tracer so much that the range not necessarily does a lot of things. Again, you can see here, I've just put down the wall, and while we missed the follow-up on it, it just brings such a chaos to the enemy because they panic by being out of position. You will now see that clumping up how we're doing it, and you can see that we're again pretty close to each other because of the situation that we are in terms of which heroes we have. And here you saw again the composition between wall and stun. Very hectic fight, and then I just suddenly die. Let's have a look at that again. It's a very hectic team fight, so we're gonna go jump back to the beginning. So the Malfurion is gonna be out of position in a second. Right now, he's trying to. I think he's trying to heal people, but it's not very necessary. If you look at the replay top bar here, nobody's very low, so him being out of this or going this far forward is really bad. Especially because I have Force Wall. So I'm Force Walling him. He's trying to root again. Yeah, I guess he's rooting. But he's never gonna catch anybody there. But that's just a mistake that you make. And then again, Diablo gets the stun off, but great counter engage here. Genji uses his Dragon Blade and ease into our Hanzo. And now I'm like trying to save everybody. Hanzo gets a shield, but we unfortunately lose Lily very early, as well as Diablo, who dies or who is very low. So we lose Lily early, and then the Thrall with the Chain Lightning stacked this high. Look at this. Oh, sorry. Look at this. There it comes. So yeah, the Chain Lightning was stacked so high already that yeah, we literally were getting poked out by him. Let's speed this up a little bit before such a respawn. So we still have a talent lead on them, and the engagement that we had there wasn't the best, but we also didn't lose so much. We gave them too much XP back, basically, but that just happens sometimes when you get over eager on trying to win a game. This is incredible setup as well. Hanzo from very far away launches arrow in towards the enemy, and then this will give us a great way to enable my wall into Diablo stun composition or combination. Here's the stun, here's the wall, and unfortunately Diablo's rooted and his angle is not perfect, so he doesn't get the... Oh, actually he did get the stun off, I think. But in the end, it's really difficult for them to do anything. Let's have another look at this. Just to show you how powerful this force wall is. So here I am, and they're actually in a pretty bad position as well, because all 5 of them are in the same chokehold basically here in this little path. Probably other people should be coming from down here, but you know, it's really you don't always have the best coordination. So here comes the arrow. And it only hits 2 people, but the wall here now, look at what it does to the other team members. They can't do anything. They can't engage into us. The Arthurs can't help anybody. Now he comes in after the wall is down. So there's no way for them to peel out the Mafrion. Again, the Mafrion probably out of position there because of how he got caught. But that being said, the arrow from Hanzo was also... Now that I have my 1000 stacks, I also do a lot more damage to these little beasts here, so we're getting a pretty good clear very quickly. Have to be a little careful, that's why I'm Eing out early, and then giving the shield to the Celtics. They caught our Diablo, but we're not, and that's again another good way to use the wall where you can just escape. They got our Diablo, and unfortunately also our Keltas, which means we lose our souls, but we get the Punisher. So we have an Arcane Punisher pushing mid, and we already have taken top forward as well, so while we have lost a couple of heroes, it's not the end of the world. And again, if you are playing against Thor at the moment, if you clump up like this, you get a lot of damage taken in. Like it's crazy how much damage he has done to us. But again, he has to use Earthquake because Force Wall just puts him out of position here. Lucky route for Arthas. I don't think that was planned, but it basically interrupts the combo of Apocalypse. So now we had another Hanzo arrow going in, very strong, but unfortunately for us, the Genji also gets a pretty good engagement into us and kills our Hanzo. I think I reacted too late and didn't get a shield off. Diablo dying is unfortunate. That being said, we get 2 kills from the Punisher here, so it's not the end of the world. And I just go back because I don't have any mana and any health anymore. And with Thrall being so stacked, it was very difficult for us to stay here with Tassadar. Closing in on level 16, which should allow us to get the next shrine as well, because the enemy team probably will have some difficulties to get there if we do everything right, but you never know. So I'm happy to engage into here. I have Oracle, I also have my Dimensional Shift up, but generally speaking, you should probably not be phase checking. I should have activated Oracle, my trait, much earlier here to see if there are more people here. Because if there are 4 or 5 here, even with Dimensional Shift, I might be in trouble. That being said, 2 of them are dead as well. And again, they don't have any hard CC, they only have roots. So they can't stop my Dimensional Shift from going off. And this is again... so crazy how strong the Force Wall is. Obviously the follow-up on from my team is crazy as well, or is really good as well, but if you just look at the situation, Thrall feels very confident and he's mounted, but his direct way to escape is gone. So the issue is now he can only go bottom, but there's Kelthas going into his way, so his decision making is he goes top. And the thing is, it doesn't only make escapes more difficult, but it also makes jukes more difficult, because he knows there's going to be a stun coming from Kelthas. So he would love to dodge it on the left side, but there's still the wall here, so if he walks left, he walks into the Khazra camp, and it doesn't really give him much better way to escape. So obviously we use a couple of heroics here on him to kill him, but it's totally worth it, and again, he has no way to escape here. And that's just, I think, personally, the way that... Oops, that was not what I wanted to press. Let's speed that up. That's why I think the force wall is so good, because you just have to create those moments over and over again where the enemy team can't really do anything against you. 16 you go Psionic Echo because you have the 1000 stacks done already on your level 1 talent, so your Psionic Storms have 2 charges, or not 2 charges, but you have a free second cast after you cast the first time. So the second cast is free. That means that you should always use it, even if you just use it on the ground or something. There's no wrong way to use it. It's rather bad to let it run out and not use it, but if you don't have anything in range, or if you don't have a great target, just put it on the floor. You can dismount somebody still, or like in this case, obviously it's great for farming when you use it more focused by putting it on an area. It also does damage when you overlap it, so you can put 2 on top of each other, and both instances do damage to targets. So it's not that it doesn't do damage. I'm a little late because I did the camp, but again, we have pretty good engagement top, because unfortunately for our enemies, the Malfurion again is out of position. I used my nullification here on the thrall. You can see the bar here, so he does less damage to us, which makes it easier for us to do damage. And this, I used the force wall here to basically cut them off and not allow them to re-engage into us. Also, one thing that I noticed that I was doing, or I tried to do. So again, the Malf is dead. Unfortunately, he's not gonna survive this. Force wall to try to catch Arthas, but now also check how I'm walking when Thrall is attacking me. So I'm walking into my enemy, into my team, and now I see that Thrall is coming. So he's trying to chain lightning and have another chain lightning jump to everybody. So just walk down. The easier way would have been to walk up to escape, but because I knew that Thrall was trying to attack us again, I tried to walk down to avoid the chain lightning to jump over and over again. Those are small things that you can think about in your games when you have the experience with the heroes that you're playing with. If you know what the enemy team or what the enemy heroes are doing, like what are their abilities and how they want to use it, it can be super useful to just like do those little things, like not walk into your team, be prepared for the stun, you know, like it's kind of like the way people use cleanse. If you know that the stun is coming and you use cleanse preemptively, it can save you. Teamfight around the camp, not the best way for us to engage into this, because they just got 16, but again, we get a kill early on, so it helps us a lot. This again, the Thrall isn't really out of position. Like he tries to get some damage on here, but with the chain lightning, and then again he has to use so much to get away. Wind Fury to get faster, and then again, there's just nothing that you can do against the force wall in this situation. Like he's getting caught out of position, his teammates overextend, and then suddenly you're in a position where you didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly you are put in a position that is really bad for your whole team. That's why I think force wall is so strong. And then I mean, obviously the passive effect of the slow amount of the Sword Beam, your auto attack, being increased is also pretty powerful actually. Like if you think about it, 30% slow on an auto attack that channels is really good. Now with Hanzo's Q quest on level 4 and my Psionic Storms, it's very easy for me or for us to clean this shrine, so we are pretty happy. We were expecting them to engage into us, so we positioned ourselves pretty defensively on the right side of the thing, of the shrine. And now we saw them coming, and that's something that's also pretty bad for Arthas. My Psionic Storm now does a lot of damage, which means his ghouls also will die much quicker. Very easy, good use of the arrow, but I was also already out, so I use my E to just make sure that I'm getting out free. And again, the Arthas doesn't want to stay there, but he just can't move away, so he panics and walks up. And then unfortunately for them, again, one of their squishies dies and we can just clean up. At this point, Diablo obviously has his 100 souls back, so he's super tanky and super annoying because you can just charge in and they can't do anything. I take only one globe here, which isn't a mistake. I should have taken both of it. If you can see, my mana is very, very low. And it's going to be one of the reasons why we can't end the game here. Again, the Diablo is just going forward. Look at his health. He still has so much health. And he's getting armor constantly from his talents. So he's so annoying. And then I come here and I'm also annoying. So it's also, by the way, a good idea to sometimes lower the wall. If the enemy team walks a weird angle because of the wall being in a weird angle. So you can definitely also remove it again if you misplace it or actually cause a teammate. So it's similar to a zombie wall where you can just put it up and put it down. Level 20 force barrier is incredible. 100% increase of the force wall range. And the cooldown is reduced by 6 seconds. And if you look at the cooldown is only 8 seconds. It's only 8 seconds and you have it up for 3 seconds. Oh, sorry, for 2 seconds. So it's like basically a cooldown of 1 second that you have the wall. It's just crazy. Like, let's have another look how often I use it. So I get level 20. 1 force wall. 2. 3. Now I have no mana anymore. 4. And now we're running away. So I was able to use my heroic 4 times in a team fight. And sure, like, it doesn't do any damage or whatever, but like, it's incredibly powerful. Like, the level 20 upgrade is so strong. Force barrier is just doing so much work, especially with the Diablo, of course. But like, in general speaking, like, this is what can also, you know, frustrate people with Tassadar, because you can just like put walls down all the time and it just doesn't give you any way to escape or do anything else. So now we took the top Punisher to the top keep, and that means we also have pressure on the top lane coming in now, which means that we were going to be very easily able to. That was a very much better use of Oracle very early, so I saw all of the bushes and everything. So that's how we should be doing it. But yeah, we can delay the shrines now and just get pressure over the top lane, which is very good. I made the call here now with the Kazu Zappers to try to get keep wall here, because 6 of the Zappers, sorry, not Zappers, Kazu are Impalers. 6 of the Impalers are actually very strong. 3 of them normally are doing neglectable damage to the wall, but if you have 6 of them, they are actually incredibly powerful. Dismounting the 2 heroes here with a Sunny Storm, and that's, you know, the range upgrade as well on level 7 gives me the ability to just like go in there and dismount people at a huge distance. So our goal again is to hit somebody with the wall's charge combo, throw out of position, but my wall is also pretty badly placed. But guess what? It's up again, because the cooldown reduction is so incredible on level 20. Here you go, have a wall. Everything comes in. I use nullification on the Thrall. Again, you can see the bar on his HP. And then we just kill everybody because we have level 20 and they're level 18. And again, the wall just up. No way to run away. You don't want to walk into Diablo. Another wall goes up. You have to be a little bit careful because actually the fortress, the keep is attacking me, or was attacking me for a second. So yeah, you can see this is obviously a pretty lopsided game. We have 27 kills as well. And my Furinus is one of the main culprits here with 8 deaths. But this shows you how strong Tassadar still can be, which why I'm so confused that his win rate is so low. What he can't do is solo support. He's not a solo support, and he also is not a support that you can just put somewhere with 3 mages or something. Like, you need to have a little bit of auto attacker, or at least something that you can protect with the shield, like the Hanzo, that has more impact than just like 1 spell and then they have a very high cooldown. So if you have high spell users like Hanzo that, you know, has frequent spells, Tassadar does a great job to supporting him. As you can see, I also died only 1 time, and I was there for nearly all of our kills, which is what you want to thrive for. Overall, you can see hero damage not super high. I'm below Arthur's and below, but above Malfurion, but Lily actually is pretty high, but you can see their damage dealers didn't do a lot of work. On the other hand, Athero with his Thrall did amazing work here and at the start. So yeah, overall, again, Tassadar stats, you can see siege damage is pretty good. I'm pretty high here. I'm higher than Hanzo, that, for example, who was for the most part in the 4-man rotation. So you can see it's really good if you have Tassadar with you as a support, because he has Wave Clear. He can offer that part which a lot of supports struggle with. And then shielding, I didn't do a super good job with shielding this game, I feel like, because I didn't focus that much on it. That being said, the armor on the shield talent obviously helped quite a bit on several occasions, so I'm not too sad about this. Also showing you the talents, so you can pause the video if you want and have a look at what people are using in this game. Hanzo went for Redemption and then Sharpened Arrowheads for 1 and 7, and then again his Explosive Arrows of 4, which I think is the most common way to build them now. And the Lily build I'm not super agreeing on, but in the end we won the game, so I can't complain. Cool. Yeah, that's it. That should be the game. We're going to finish it up and go into the MVP screen. Again, with this massive push in the middle and then 3 catapults in the bottom, there was nothing that they can do with only Arthas being alive. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that I really like Tassadar is just because you can have an impact on more of a utility way. His shields and his force wall is a more utility than anything else. So he's not a big healer. So here you go. Kathas got MVP, and I got shrine damage as my little plague. Cool, that's it for me. Again, thank you very much for watching. I just did this to test the microphone to see how it now sounds, and let me know if the sound levels are good for you or if you heard something that you didn't like, and I can try to fix it. Thank you again for everybody, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.